guys, today I will give you a complete guide on how to switch to Linux for the first time. I get it can be quite complicated, and that's why I'm here to simplify and explain how to do this. This is a disclaimer to back up any data that you have, as I am not responsible for any data loss that will occur while following this tutorial. The first thing to do is to figure out what distro or version of Linux to use. There is an overwhelmingly vast amount of distros to choose from, and I will give you some tips on finding the one for you. I recommend the website DistroWatch at distrowatch.com. Once you're on the DistroWatch website, you'll want to go to the top bar and click on Find/Submit Distro. A menu will appear and you'll want to select Search for Distro. You'll see this page. There'll be a section called Search by Distribution Criteria, Advanced Search Form. In OS type, you want to select Linux, and in the distribution category, you want to select Beginners. Now, you have a lot of options to choose from, like the desktop interface. This is the interface of the distro. If you are looking for a Windows look and feel, you want to select Cinnamon or Budgie. If you have a very low spec computer, LXQT or LXDE will work. Or if you want lots of customization and have a fairly high spec system, you can try KDE Plasma. If you have a PC made in the past 15 years or so, it will most likely have a 64-bit processor. In that case, you'll want to select x86_64. If you have a 32-bit processor, which is only in quite ancient computers, you want to select one of the i86 processors. You'll have to know if it's a 386, 486, 586 or 686 processor though. If you have a different architecture, like if you have a Raspberry Pi or a 90s Mac, you'll have to find the architecture yourself. Now we are in the release model. If you want a really stable experience without updates causing incompatibilities, you want to select Fixed and Fixed LTS. If you want more modern software, you can select Semi-Rolling. But if you always want the absolute latest software, even if it has bugs or incompatibilities, you can select Rolling. It just won't be very stable, so only use a rolling release at your own risk. If you want the OS to be fully installed from the physical installation medium, you can select Local in the Install Method category. If you want to get some of the resources from the internet, so you always install the latest version of the software in the distro's repositories, you can select Net Install. OEM is mainly for businesses that sell computers with the distro pre-installed, so you can ignore that. In the multi-language support, you can select the language that you want the distro to be in, to make sure it has support. In the status category, you want to make sure it is active, because you don't want to install a discontinued operating system. Once you are done, you can select Submit Query. Once you click it, you will see the relevant results under the button if there are any results. You can click on a distro for more information. Once you clicked on a distro, you can go to the summary and find the download mirrors section. You can click on one of the download mirrors. I recommend downloading from the official source, and you should only download from a mirror if the official one is down or if the mirror is faster. Every download page is different, but you just download the ISO. Make sure it is the correct architecture, so most likely 64-bit, sometimes labeled AMD 64, and in most cases you can download the file from your browser by selecting the download link. Although if the option is available, you might want to torrent the ISO instead, because with a direct download link, you download from one server to your computer. With torrenting, you can download it from multiple servers and thus download it faster if your internet speed allows for it. It can also be more reliable because if one server goes down, you can still download it from the other servers connected to the torrent. But with a direct download, if the server goes down, you cannot download it. Now, once you download it, there are two main options to run it. You can either install it on real hardware or virtualize it. Now, in order to do the virtualization method, you will need a fairly decent system because you are essentially making a computer in a computer. I won't show how to do this in the video, but I will show you how to install it on your machine. Now, I recommend trying this on an older computer that is useless to you before you install it on your main machine, so you know how it works and can avoid messing things up. There are two potential methods for installing Linux on a machine. You can either write the Linux installation image to a USB drive, or use a program like Wooby, which I made a video about, in order to install it without a USB drive. Now, the Wooby approach only works in Ubuntu and its flavors. There are alternatives for other distros, like Mint for Win for Linux Mint, but there might not be an easy solution for your distro, so I'll show you the USB drive way. Realistically, any USB drive 8GB and up will work, but I recommend getting at least a 32GB drive if you want to use something like Ventoy and have multiple ISOs on a single USB stick, which I won't get into right now. I will be using Balena Etcher in my demonstration, but a program like Rufus will work fine and has more features, but Etcher is nice and simple. You should go to their website etcher.balena.io and download the Windows Installer executable. Once you download it, a dialog box might appear. Just click Run. The logo will appear, and after a while the Balena Etcher window will appear. You will want to select the file which you downloaded and select the USB drive to write on. After that, just click Flash and it will write the image onto the device. Once it is done flashing and verifying, you will now want to search up the key to enter the boot menu on your computer. Once you have done that, you want to reboot your computer with the USB stick plugged in. Once Windows shut down, you want to hold the key down and that will open the menu. You want to select the USB stick. Once you boot off the USB stick, you most likely will see a menu. You will want to select Try or Install or Graphical Install or something like that. If you get put on the desktop after a boot, there will typically be an installer program. In the installer program, you will have some or all of these options: the language, the region, time zone, keyboard layout, network information, computer name, also known as a host name, sometimes a domain name, root password, your name and username, as well as your account password, disk partitioning information, sometimes a desktop environment, sometimes a mirror for the repository, sometimes bootloader information, and a package popularity competition. Language is self-explanatory, same with the region. The time zone lets you set the time zone for your computer's clock. The keyboard layout lets you set what keyboard you have, as keyboards in different countries have different layouts. Network information lets you connect to Wi-Fi or Ethernet, although you can skip this step if you don't want internet. The computer name or host name is the name of your computer when it connects to other devices on the network. If you get asked for a domain name, you can ignore it as it is not relevant for most people, and you might get asked for the root password. Now the root account is sort of like the Linux equivalent of a super admin or system account. You may want to set it in case you need to log into it, for example for repairing your installation, although you can set it later on your computer using the command sudo passwd root if your user account has sudo privileges, or you can use the Rescatux live CD, which I won't get into right now. You then will get asked for your name and your username. Your name or full name will be the name displayed to you, but the username is the name the system refers to that you'll be using if you want to log in as that user in text mode, or via the LightDM login screen if your distro uses that, or in commands, and many more. You'll also set up a password for your user account. Then you'll get to disk partitioning. Quite often they have an automatic mode which lets you either remove Windows and keep only Linux, or let you dual boot if you want to run both Windows and Linux on the same hard drive. Make sure the correct drive will be used. There is also a manual mode if you know what you are doing. Sometimes the installer will ask what desktop environment you want to use. Select the one you want. Sometimes, maybe, there will be multiple servers that host the same repository, which are the servers which store a huge amount of software that you or the system can download and install from. I recommend using the default option, the official one if it's available. You might, just maybe, get asked about a package popularity competition. This basically records how many times a specific package from a repository has been installed. If you want to participate in it, select yes. Once it has been installed, you can reboot your computer while taking out the drive and boot from the hard drive. A menu may appear if you are dual booting your system, which will let you choose what you want to boot from. Windows will commonly appear as Windows Boot Manager. There will also, obviously, be an option for Linux, assuming you set it up correctly. There may also be an advanced options menu, which will let you boot into recovery mode and into different kernel versions if your computer is having problems. And with that, we are done. If you liked the video, smash that like button, subscribe for more content, comment if you got any feedback, and have an awesome day. Goodbye.